Why kind people often lose power. You may have tried to do everything right. You worked harder. You were more honest, more loyal, more patient. And still, you were not the one chosen. The person who got picked was the one who knew when to speak. The one who got protected was the one who made others feel safe. The one who went further was the one who understood the room before the room understood them. That is the first fracture many adults experience, but very few dare to name. This world does not reward kindness first. It rewards position. It rewards perception. It rewards those who understand that people do not respond to your essence first. They respond to the feeling you create inside them. You may be talented, but if that talent makes someone feel threatened, they will not call you gifted. They will call you a problem. You may be sincere, but if that sincerity exposes your inner structure too clearly, it will not be called beautiful. It will be used like a map. You may be kind, but if your kindness has no boundaries, people will not stay grateful for long. They will start seeing you as something they can always take more from. That is why the opening movement of the 48 Laws of Power is not really about dominating others. It is about something closer, harsher, and more real. How to stop walking into a strategic world with a mind that is far too innocent. The people who lose power first are not always the weakest. Very often, they are the ones who are too readable, too trusting, too exposed, too predictable, too usable. Now we begin. Law 1. Never outshine the person above you. The first mistake many capable people make is believing that if they are simply better, they will be recognized. No. In many environments, talent is not read as talent first. It is read as a signal of power, and signals of power always touch the ego of other people. Think about a meeting. There is a problem hanging in the room. Everyone is circling around it. The person in charge has not landed the point. Then you speak. Clear, fast, sharp, right to the center. The room goes quiet. You think you just proved your value, but to the person who holds authority, that moment may feel like a wound. If they are secure enough, they will use you. If they are insecure, they will not remember you as brilliant. They will remember you as the person who made them feel smaller. And from there, everything becomes quiet. You stop getting invited into important conversations. Your ideas begin to appear through someone else's mouth. You are still in the room, but you are no longer near the center of power. Many people are pushed out not because they were wrong, but because they were right in a way that bruised the ego above them. You do not always need to shine at full force. Sometimes, what must be protected is not the ego that wants recognition now, but your right to stay in the game long enough to matter. Talent gets you noticed. Strategy keeps you close enough to the source of access. Law 2. Do not put too much trust in friends. The people who wound you most deeply are rarely strangers. Strangers do not know you well enough to do that. The ones who make you bleed the most are usually the ones who once stood very close. Closeness creates two things at the same time: a feeling of safety and a level of access. When you trust someone, you are not just giving them intimacy, you are handing them a map. You tell them how you think, what you are insecure about, what you want, where you are softest. When life is calm, that looks like connection. But when human emotion shifts, those same details become tools. Betrayal does not always come from pure malice. Often it comes from envy, wounded pride, comparison, resentment, or simply the fact that the other person knows too much. An enemy at a distance keeps you alert. You do not hand them your keys, but with friends, you lower your guard. You tell more truth. You explain more. You think you are home. That is when the opening appears. This does not mean you should live in paranoia, but a mature person understands that intimacy is not proof of safety. Some people truly love you, but others only love the feeling of being near you until your growth begins to make them feel small. The person closest to your heart is often the person closest to your blind spot. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. One of the fastest ways to damage your future is to speak about it too early. Many people announce before they build. They reveal direction before they have foundation. They expose plans before they are strong enough to protect them. They think that is transparency. But every time you reveal a direction too early, you do three things at once. You give other people time to react, you invite doubt and disruption, and you place something fragile under light that is too harsh. Some plans die not because they were weak, but because they were exposed while still too young. You say you are about to move into something bigger. Immediately, one person doubts it, another analyzes it, another begins to guard themselves. You think you are only sharing, but in their eyes, you have just signaled that your position may soon change. And people do not react lightly to signals of position changing. The wise are not quiet because they enjoy mystery. They are quiet because they understand that some doors should only open once you are already standing on the other side. Do not let your future become an open discussion for people who are not the ones building it. The moment your future is exposed too early, it stops being fully yours. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. A lot of people do not lose power because they are weak. They lose power because they talk too much. They explain too much, justify too much, present too much, reveal too much. They think that if they speak clearly enough, others will finally understand them. But in social life, the more you speak, the more you expose your inner structure. Every time you over-explain, people are not only hearing content, they are hearing your need to be understood, your fear of being judged, your rush to be accepted, the places where you are trying to protect yourself. That is why some people barely speak and still feel heavy, and some people say all the right things, yet become lighter and lighter the more they talk. A person with weight does not fill every silence. They do not panic because the room goes still for a few seconds. They know the fewer words they use, the heavier each one becomes. When you say less, other people reveal more. They begin to guess. They begin to fill the silence. And while they do that, they show you what they think, what they fear, and from what position they are looking at you. Do not use words as anesthesia for your own insecurity. The more you explain, the more places you give people to grab. Law 5. Guard your reputation like your life depends on it. People do not enter the room with your true self first. They enter the room with what they have heard, seen, or quietly come to believe about you. That is reputation, and many people only understand its value after they have already let it crack. Once your reputation cracks, you can still speak, still work, still show up, but the atmosphere changes. The way people look at you changes. The threshold for suspicion becomes lower. The threshold for trust becomes higher. You begin spending enormous energy just fighting the fog that arrived before you. That is the terrifying part of reputation. It does not kill with an explosion. It kills through friction. A few whispers at the right time. A few bad images repeated long enough. A few moments where you appeared weak or out of control in front of the wrong people at the wrong time. Together, these build something more powerful than truth itself, impression. And in many environments, people react to impression before they verify facts. This is not advice to become fake. It is a reminder that in social life, your image is armor. Your reputation enters the room before your body does. Law 6. Court attention. There is an illusion many talented people quietly feed inside themselves. If I truly have value, eventually people will notice. No. Value that is not seen is often treated as if it does not exist. Ability that sends no signal often dies in silence. Talent hidden too deeply is not always called humility. Sometimes it is called invisibility. People cannot respect what they do not feel. They cannot be drawn to what never enters their field of vision. They cannot remember what never appeared clearly enough to register. That is why some people are not the best, yet they are always the ones being mentioned, and others are truly deep, truly capable, but keep getting overlooked. The difference is often signal. Attracting attention does not mean becoming loud. It means understanding that in a noisy world, you cannot afford to only be right. You must become visible enough to be perceived. You must know how to appear, how to leave a mark, how to make your presence stop passing by like wallpaper. What is not seen rarely keeps its value for long. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you. Many people grow up believing that they must do everything themselves to deserve anything, but power rarely develops that way. The person who does everything creates exhaustion. The person who knows how to direct creates a system. Labor and power do not always rise together. The hardest working person in the room is not always the one shaping the game. The one touching the most tasks is not always the one whose name lasts the longest. As scale increases, what gets rewarded is no longer just effort. It becomes the ability to organize the effort of others in a direction that benefits you. If you keep tying your value to doing everything yourself, you will stay trapped in the role of operator instead of stepping into the role of designer. Labor creates results. Coordination creates power. Law 8. Make other people come to you. The one who is always chasing is often read as the one who needs more, and the moment you are read as the one who needs more, the balance has already tilted. The person who always texts first, always asks for the chance, always fears losing connection, always tries to keep everything going, may be deeply sincere. But in the game of status, sincerity mixed with constant pursuit gets read as lowered value. The more you prove that you need someone else's response in order to feel steady, the more emotional power they gain over you. Do not only learn how to reach people, learn how to become something people have to reach for. The one who keeps chasing teaches the world to price them lower. Law 9. Win through action, never through argument. Argument is a very sweet trap. It gives you the feeling that if you are sharp enough, logical enough, right enough, you can force other people to see truth. But most people do not change because they hear a stronger argument. They change when reality makes their old argument impossible to keep living inside. You can win a debate and still lose power. Because every time you let yourself get dragged into prolonged conflict, you step down onto the same plane as the other person. A great many people lose force because they are addicted to being right in the present moment. The wise do not enjoy burning energy just to win sentence by sentence. They let action do that for them. When results appear, opinions begin to run out of oxygen. Law 10. Avoid the unhappy and the chronically negative. Some people enter a room and the air gets heavier. Not because they are going through something, everyone goes through something, but because they have turned the problem into the climate they live inside. Everything they talk about bends toward disappointment. Everything they hear becomes pessimism. Stay near them long enough, and you do not just listen to their story. You start living inside their weather. Many people confuse this with compassion. They think that if they are good enough, they should remain forever inside that atmosphere. But helping someone while they hurt is different from moving into the structure of their pain. Some people do not just carry problems, they export them. Law 11. Make yourself indispensable. Many people think safety comes from being liked, but inside power structures, being liked is never as stable as being needed. Some people are warm, agreeable, easy to love, and still they get replaced. Because affection does not automatically create dependency. Durable power begins when you hold a value that is difficult to replace. A core skill, a function so central that the system feels the absence the moment you are removed. The loved person may be praised. The needed person is usually kept. The safest position is not being loved. It is being difficult to replace. Law 12. use selective honesty and generosity. People are very sensitive to anything fake, but they are also suspicious of anything too smooth. Someone who appears too perfect makes others cautious. That is why sometimes it is not a display of strength that lowers people's guard. It is the right amount of truth. A sentence at the right moment, a selective admission, a detail that feels human enough, not to weaken yourself, but to create the sense that you are not a polished wall no one can touch. The subtle person understands that a little truth, placed at the right moment, can open a door force never could. Honesty without strategy often becomes self-exposure, but honesty with intent can become a bridge. A piece of truth placed in the right spot can open a door pressure never could. By now, you may begin to see the common pattern. The people who lose power earliest usually do not lose it because they lack value. They lose it because they enter social life with too little strategic protection. They shine in the wrong place. They trust the wrong people. They speak too early. They explain too much. They underestimate image. They let themselves become invisible. They carry everything alone. They chase. They argue. They live inside negative climates. They become replaceable. And they are honest in ways that let others read the entire map of them. That is the first face of power. Not domination, but learning how to stop letting yourself be drained. But this is still only the defensive half. Because once you stop losing power in naive ways, the next question appears. Not only how not to be used, but how power is actually created inside the minds of other people. Not losing power is only the beginning. The real game begins when you understand how power is seen. How power controls perception. By now, you have seen one uncomfortable truth. A great many people do not lose because they are inferior. They lose because they let other people read them too easily. But that is only half the game. Because in real life, power is not only about avoiding being used. It is about how others see you, how they guess you, how they place you, how they react around you. There are people who are not stronger than you, yet they are seen as stronger. There are people who are not deeper than you, yet they are felt as more dangerous, more unreadable. There are people who are not more capable than you, yet they can tilt an entire room in the direction they want. That is when you begin to understand something crucial. Power does not live in essence first. It lives in perception. Law 13, when asking for help, appeal to self-interest. One of the most common mistakes people make is believing that if they describe their struggle clearly enough, other people will feel moved. Maybe, but not for long. People respond more strongly to their own interests than to someone else's pain. If you want someone to help you, do not only tell them what you need, show them why helping you also benefits them. People rarely move fast because of sympathy. They move fast when they see their own future inside the decision. That is not cruelty. That is simply the real language of the world. A mature person does not only know how to ask, they know how to place the request exactly where the other person wants to receive it. People run faster for what rewards them than for what merely hurts you. Law 14, pose as a friend. Work as a collector of information. The person who talks the most in the room is rarely the strongest. The person who listens best is the one who understands how the room actually works. Human beings carry a deep need, the need to feel understood. And when people feel listened to, they begin to open themselves. They speak more than they should. They reveal fear, pride, motive, habit, even the way they react when touched in the wrong place. Information is rarely stolen. More often, it is given away under the feeling of safety. So do not only listen to content, listen to rhythm. Listen to what someone stresses too heavily. Listen to what they avoid. Listen to what they say as if it were accidental. The best listener is often the one who knows the room best. Law 15. Crush danger before it half survives. Some threats cannot be handled halfway. A danger that is not finished cleanly will come back when your attention drops. Many people call delay mercy. Many people call unfinished action kindness. But inside power, anything dangerous enough to require action and left unresolved becomes a debt. A threat left incomplete does not disappear. It simply learns more about you. So do not keep alive what will return to bite you at your worst possible moment. A danger handled halfway usually returns stronger. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Anything that appears too often starts being treated like background. The person who is always there, always responding, always available, always reachable. Very quickly, they are treated like something that is simply always there. Not because they lack value, but because constant availability lowers perceived weight. In many relationships and structures, more presence is not better presence. Rhythm matters more than volume. Some people lose value not because they changed, but because others became too used to them being there at all times. Scarcity does not only raise price, it raises weight. Constant access lowers perceived value. Law 17. Keep others from reading you too easily. When people know exactly how you will respond, they become bolder with you. They know you will tolerate it. They know you will come back. They know you will explain. They know you will soften. And from there, their behavior changes. Predictability gives the other person a sense of control. That may work well in machines, but in power, being too predictable is usually a leak. You do not need to become irrational or unstable. You only need to avoid becoming so locked into one simple pattern that anyone can use it to price you. A measured degree of unpredictability makes people more careful, and that caution is already a form of power. When people can predict you too clearly, they begin to act more boldly against you. Law 18. Do not build a fortress around yourself. Many people get hurt, then retreat all the way inward. They trust no one, connect with no one, re-enter no system. In the short term, that feels safe. In the long term, it makes you blind, because power needs information. It needs sensitivity to movement. It needs awareness of how the room is changing. When you isolate too much, you stop seeing the smaller shifts. You stop hearing the whispers. You stop reading the turn before it happens. You may protect your emotions for a while, but you also cut yourself off from strategic awareness. Isolation protects emotion, then destroys perception. Law 19. Know exactly who you are dealing with. Not everyone reacts the same way. Some argue, then forget. Some go silent, then let it pass. Some stay quiet for a very long time, only to return the humiliation later, all at once. The biggest mistake is not touching the wrong nerve. It is misreading the kind of person standing in front of you. Some people want to win. Some want revenge. Some want to make a point. Some want to pull you down to their level. Some do not even want advantage. They only want to see you collapse. Not every enemy wants victory. Some only want destruction. If you cannot read a person's pride, their threshold for humiliation, and the way they retaliate, you will make very expensive moves. Not every enemy wants to win. Some only want to ruin. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone too early. The person who belongs fully to one side too early often loses strategic value. Once everyone is sure whose person you are, you stop being a variable. You become an asset already labeled. In many structures, what gives someone weight is not only where they stand, it is the fact that they are not completely locked into one side. Strategic distance creates pull. The person no one fully owns is the person many sides have to consider carefully. The one no side fully owns is the one every side must handle carefully. Law 21. Sometimes let others think they are smarter than you. People enjoy the feeling of being above, and when they feel smarter than you, they relax. They speak more. They show more. They become less guarded. Many people destroy their own ability to observe because they are too impatient to prove how sharp they are. You do not always need to display your intelligence immediately. Sometimes being one beat slower lets you see far more. Vanity is one of the fastest ways to loosen a mask. Law 22. Use surrender as a tactic to buy time. There are moments when direct confrontation is simply foolish, not because you are weak, but because the time is not yours yet. A step back at the right moment can lower the other person's guard. It can let their heat burn itself out. It can buy you time you would never have had if you tried to win too soon. The problem is that many people confuse strategy with pride. They cannot tolerate the feeling of retreat, so they rush in before they are ready. And what they call courage is often just terror at being seen not winning immediately. Not every retreat is defeat. Some retreats are simply the price of timing. Some steps back are not losses. They are the cost of appearing at the right time. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Many people stay busy enough to look like they are moving forward, but in truth, they are only scattering themselves. Too many goals, too many fronts, too many ambitions at once. The result is motion without weight. Real force rarely comes from dispersion. It comes from concentration. The dangerous person is not the one who touches everything. It is the one who pours their nervous system, time, and energy into one direction long enough for it to build momentum. Busyness creates the feeling of usefulness. Focus creates power. Scattered effort looks active. Concentrated effort is what becomes dangerous. Law 24. Master the art of moving through systems. Not every form of strength needs to appear like a punch. Some people go far, not because they overpower others, but because they move through ego, ritual, hierarchy, and structure with elegance. They know when to yield a little to protect the long road, when to soften so resistance does not activate, when grace travels further than force. The person who does not understand structure always wants to push directly. The one who understands structure knows how to pass through it and still get what they came for. Inside systems of power, subtlety usually travels farther than raw force. By now, something should be becoming clearer. Power is not only avoiding being used, it is the art of shaping how others see you, guess you, and behave around you. But perception alone is not enough. Being noticed is not enough. Being interesting is not enough. Being remembered is not enough. If people see you but do not need you, your power is still fragile. And that is where the next phase begins. From this point forward, the game is no longer only image. It becomes leverage. How power builds leverage. There is a major difference between someone who makes an impression and someone who truly has force. The person who makes an impression can attract attention, but the person with force becomes someone others must calculate around. That is when power rises to another level. It is no longer just about how you are seen. It is about how the structure around you begins to tilt in your direction. Law 25. Recreate yourself. If you do not define yourself deliberately, other people will do it for you, and they will usually do it in the way that is most convenient for them. Many people are still living inside an old label their environment gave them years ago. The easy one, the gentle one, the one who is only good at one thing, the one who is not ambitious. They have changed. But the world has not updated its image of them, because they have not forced the world to update. Identity in society is not only who you are, it is what people have grown used to believing that you are. If you want to move into a different position, you must actively reposition yourself. If you do not design your own image, other people will assign you one that serves them. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. Some people are powerful, but their power erodes because they appear too directly inside too much dirty conflict. When your image is tightly fused with chaos, people stop seeing you from above. They drag you down to ground level. That does not mean you can never be ruthless. It means not every strong action should come with your fingerprints all over it. Authority weakens very quickly when its image becomes visibly attached to mud. Visible dirt erodes force faster than hidden power ever does. Law 27. People need something to believe in. Many people do not follow what is most correct. They follow what feels most certain. Human beings are not only searching for truth, they are searching for meaning, for symbol, for the feeling that someone understands the road ahead. That is why some people are less accurate and still pull a stronger crowd. Not because they are better, but because they speak with certainty. People follow certainty before they verify truth. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Hesitation leaks faster than you think. When you walk into something with half belief, other people feel it immediately. And the moment they sense that you are still doubting yourself, they begin doubting you for you. That does not mean you should be blindly reckless. It means that once you step in, do not bring shrinking energy with you. Doubt leaks. Boldness spreads. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Many people know how to begin. Very few know how to see the full consequence of a move. They start strong. They win the first stretch. Then they get trapped by backlash, robbed of credit, or cornered by their own success. Because they planned for the launch, not for what happens after momentum starts rolling. Strategic thinking is not only about how to begin, it is about understanding what happens when things work. Many people fail because they plan movement, not consequence. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. The world often associates smoothness with class. Two people can perform equally well, but the one who reveals too much sweat is often perceived differently from the one who carries the same result with calmness and control. People do not only buy results, they buy the feeling of the capability behind those results. That does not mean denying effort. It means that not every struggle should be displayed in places where you are trying to build authority. Effort creates the result. Smoothness sells the class behind it. Effort may create the outcome, but ease is what sells status. Law 31. Control the options. One of the highest forms of control is letting other people believe they are choosing freely, while every path sits inside a frame you designed. Direct force creates resistance. Wise arrangement creates simulated willingness. The skilled person does not only push others, they design the structure so others walk themselves into the direction that benefits them. The highest form of control is letting others choose inside your design. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. People are not always led by facts. Very often, they are led by the image of the person they want to become. A message does not need to be perfect in logic to have power. It needs to touch the deeper desire underneath, the desire to feel more important, more special, more redeemed, closer to an ideal version of the self. People rarely buy truth first. They buy the version of themselves they want to believe is possible. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Not everyone bends at the same place. Some bend at pride, some at fear of abandonment, some at the need to be recognized, some at greed, some at fear of losing control. If you want to understand someone, do not only listen to how they describe themselves, watch where they overreact. Everyone bends somewhere. Most people are simply trying to hide where. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Many people do not realize that status begins in very small moments. How you enter, how you sit down, how you answer, how you stay quiet, how little you shrink. People often rank you based on how you carry very ordinary moments. You do not need to perform royalty. You simply need to stop carrying yourself like someone asking permission to exist. People usually decide your level from how you move through very normal moments. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Being right too early often looks exactly like being wrong. Some ideas are good, but arrive out of rhythm. Some actions are correct, but hit an environment that is not ready. And then people do not evaluate you as ahead of the time. They simply evaluate you as wrong. Timing is not a detail. It is half of effectiveness. Being right too early often looks no different from being wrong. Law 36. Disdain what you cannot have. Some things rise higher in your mind the more you chase them after they have already rejected you. A closed opportunity, a person who left, a position that is no longer yours. If you keep clinging, that thing begins to rule your nervous system. Letting go here is not only about healing pain, it is how you reclaim your internal rank. Whatever you keep chasing after it rejects, you will keep standing above you. Now power begins to reveal its true nature. It is not magic, it is structure, position, timing, scarcity, framing, the ability to become difficult to replace, the ability to touch the things people are actually driven by. But there is still one final layer. Many people know how to build power, then they destroy it themselves, not because they are weak, but because they go too far, too rigid, too intoxicated by winning, too fixed. The final enemy of power is not weakness, it is excess. How power survives itself. This is the final stage, and it is also the most mature, because gaining power is not enough. The harder part is staying whole after you have it. Many people do not collapse before they win. They collapse because of the way they carry victory. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. People can argue with facts, but they are easily anchored by a powerful image. A symbol, a scene, a visual at the right moment can go straight into emotion faster than 10 minutes of explanation. Power understands this. It does not only speak, it knows how to show. The mind can debate data. It surrenders much faster to image. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Not every depth needs public display. Some people are too eager to prove how different they are, how deep they are, how unlike the crowd they are. And that display of difference causes the system to read them as an oddity that must be removed. Private depth survives better than public eccentricity at the wrong time. Inner depth usually survives longer than exposed difference shown at the wrong moment. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. When everything is calm, anyone can look composed, kind, and in control. But under pressure, when pushed, cornered, or touched in the wrong place, the true structure appears. What makes someone lose composure? What part of the ego they defend? What they fear losing most? Pressure does not only create crisis, it creates a sharp photograph of character. People are difficult to read in peace. Under pressure, the map appears. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. Not every gift is harmless. Some favors, opportunities, and acts of help that seem to cost nothing only reveal their true price later. That price appears as indebtedness, as dependence, as the growing difficulty of saying no. The cost you avoid now often returns later in the form of quiet obedience. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Inheriting a large legacy sounds useful, but it can also become the most beautiful trap. If you keep walking the old path, you will always be compared. The more similar you are, the more you disappear. The more closely you follow the old footsteps, the more you get read as a second version. Some shadows protect you from the sun, but they also block your light. A great legacy can be a launching pad, but it can also become a beautifully decorated cage. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. You do not always need to influence everyone. Many groups have one person who sets the rhythm, one person who shapes the climate, one person who functions as the center around which others unconsciously orbit. If you misread the center, you waste force on the outer ring. If you identify the core correctly, the whole structure begins to shift by itself. Change the center, and the circle will reorganize. Law 43. Work on hearts and minds. Many people speak correctly, and still no one moves. Because human beings do not only follow what makes sense, they follow what touches pride, fear, hope, pain, and identity. Logic makes people nod. Emotion makes them follow. People may submit to pressure, but they truly move only when something emotional has been touched. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. You do not always need to counterattack directly. Sometimes, all you have to do is reflect the exact behavior the other person is using, and they begin to lose balance. Human beings become deeply uncomfortable when they are forced to face themselves in a mirror, especially when the mirror does not argue, it only reflects. Very few things unsettle a person faster than meeting their own energy coming back at them. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. People love the idea of change in language, but their nervous system clings tightly to what is familiar. A change may be correct, yet still trigger resistance simply because it arrives too abruptly and strips away people's sense of ground. That is why lasting change often arrives in the form of continuity, not rupture. People resist less when what is new wears the clothing of what feels familiar. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Perfection attracts attention, but it also attracts envy. The smoother, brighter, cleaner, and more flawless you appear, the more others begin wanting to see you slip. A small crack, one deeply human point, can sometimes make a larger image survive longer. Perfection attracts the eye. A slight flaw helps it live. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. Many people do not lose before victory. They lose after victory because they do not know how to stop. Enough still feels insufficient. A win still demands another charge. They believe more movement always means more strength. But there is a threshold after victory where ego begins driving in place of strategy. And that is where people create new enemies, new fronts, new weaknesses. A great many people do not lose before they win. They lose because victory intoxicates them. Law 48. Assume formlessness. The strongest form is not always the most rigid one. The person too fixed in one method of winning, one role, one image, one tactic, breaks easily when pressure changes shape. The person who survives longer is the one who can change form before pressure traps them inside one pattern. At the highest level, power is not hardness. It is adaptability without losing core identity. The strongest structure is the one that can change shape before pressure fully arrives. What you have just moved through is not merely 48 pieces of advice. It is 48 repeating patterns inside work, relationships, ambition, competition, betrayal, respect, disappearance, and the quiet ways human beings assign value to one another. These patterns do not live only in palaces, wars, or politics. They live in conference rooms, in friendships, in love, in the way people treat you when you are too gentle, too readable, too usable, and in the ways some people seem to carry weight everywhere they go without speaking more than anyone else. But the most important truth sits here. Understanding other people is only half of it. The other half is understanding yourself, your ego, your soft spots, your hunger for recognition, your habit of self-exposure, your habit of chasing, your habit of not knowing when to stop. People often think power begins with controlling others. No. Real power begins the moment you stop unconsciously handing life the knife it can use against you. Use these laws to understand the room before the room understands you. And if you have listened this far, then you have already begun to see the game. Comment, I see the rules now.